Welcome to my channel MS Old Coins and Gentlemen, to a journey not across continents, but through the very small and surprisingly valuable world we carry in our pockets every single day. First up, let's zoom in on a coin that might seem utterly unremarkable at first glance. I want you to imagine finding a UK 2-pence piece dated 1994, featuring the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II. To most people, it's just a bit of spare change, perhaps destined for a charity jar or the back of a sofa cushion. But within the world of numismatics, the study and collection of currency, this specific coin holds a secret that could turn that humble 2p into a small windfall. Today, we are not just talking about a coin. We're talking about a piece of history that you might be able to cash in on. Now, you might be wondering, what could possibly make a 1994 2-pence coin valuable? After all, millions of them were produced. The key lies in the materials and a pivotal moment in British minting history. You see, in 1992, the Royal Mint made a significant change to the United Kingdom coinage. They switched the composition of the 2-pence coin from the older, heavier bronze to a new, more cost-effective copper-plated steel core. This means that for collectors, the 1994 2-pence is special because it is part of this new era of metallurgy. It represents a time when the mint was modernizing its processes, and coins from this transitional period often catch the eye of those looking for specific modern varieties. But the real reason this coin can be so much more valuable than its face value of 2 cents, or about 2.5 cents in US dollars, comes down to a word that makes every collector's heart beat faster: condition. We're looking for a coin that is in what is called uncirculated or mint condition. This means it has never been used as money. It would have been handled carefully, perhaps kept in a sealed bag or a special coin folder. An uncirculated 1994 2-pence coin, with its original mint luster and flawless surfaces, is a completely different beast from the worn, scratched coins that have been passed from hand to hand for decades. Its value isn't in the metal it's made from. It's in its pristine, untouched state. So, let's talk about the history of this little piece. The obverse, or the front of the coin, features the third portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by the artist Raphael Maclauff. In this portrait, the Queen wears the girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, a look familiar to anyone who has seen UK currency from the late 20th century. The reverse, or the tail side, designed by Christopher Ironside, features the iconic badge of the Prince of Wales, a plume of ostrich feathers within a coronet, with the German motto Ich diene, meaning I serve. This design has been a staple of British coinage and heraldry for centuries, linking this small 2p piece to the grand history of the British monarchy. But how valuable can it really be? Is it going to make you a millionaire? Let's manage expectations with a dose of reality, but also a dose of excitement. A standard 1994 2-pence coin that you pull out of your pocket is, unfortunately, just worth 2 pence. It has been worn down by the friction of wallets, pockets, and tills. However, the story changes dramatically when we talk about the ones that escaped this fate. The Royal Mint also produces coins specifically for collectors, often in higher quality finishes like brilliant uncirculated or proof. These are the ones that hold the value. I want you to picture this: a pristine, uncirculated 1994 2-pence coin. If you were to find one of these, perhaps in an old collection or a forgotten savings jar, its value can climb to between $1 and $5. That's already a massive return on a 2p investment. But wait, it gets even better. There are also highly sought-after silver-proof versions of the 1994 2p coin, struck in precious metal for collectors. These are much rarer and more valuable, with some selling for $10 to $20 or more, depending on their condition and if they have the original box and certificate of authenticity. Now, we must be careful not to confuse this circulating 2-pence with its much more famous and far more valuable cousins. You might have heard stories online about a 1994 2-pound coin being worth thousands of dollars. That is absolutely true, but it's a completely different coin. There is a legendary 1994 gold-proof 2-pound coin, minted to commemorate the 300th anniversary of the Bank of England. Some of these gold coins were struck with a rare error, called a mule, where they used the wrong die, and those have sold for astonishing prices. We are talking about verified auction results where these specific error coins have fetched between $2,150 and a staggering $3,900 at major auctions like the RoyalMint and London Coins. But let's bring it right back to our star, the 1994 2Pence. The maximum value you can achieve for a standard, copper-plated steel version in the best possible uncirculated condition is realistically in the region of $5 to $10. For a silver-proof version, you might see prices up to $20 or $30. So, while it won't buy you a house, finding one of these gems is like finding free money. It turns PocketChange into a fun little profit, proving that paying attention to the small details can literally pay off. This is the thrill of coin hunting, or what collectors call pocket checking. It's the idea that every time you receive change, you have a tiny, free lottery ticket. Most of the time, it's just common currency. But just occasionally, you might spot something that looks a little different, a little newer, or a little shinier than the rest. It's that moment of discovery, the eureka feeling of finding a coin that has been hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone who knows its true worth. Think about the journey a coin takes. A 1994 2Pence piece has been around for over 3 decades. It has passed through countless hands, paid for countless small items, and traveled all over the country. For it to survive all that time in pristine, uncirculated condition is remarkably rare. It's a tiny time capsule from the mid-1990s, a piece of the pre-millennium world, carrying the image of a younger Queen Elizabeth II and the heraldic symbols of a nation. So, I want to issue you a challenge. The next time you empty your pockets or your purse, don't just throw your change into a jar. Take a moment. Look at the dates. Look at the condition. Familiarize yourself with the coins from 1992 onwards, especially the 1994 2Pence. You are now armed with the knowledge that sets you apart from the average person. You are now a treasure hunter in the most accessible way possible. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. The world of valuable coins is vast and filled with incredible stories of ordinary people finding fortunes. In future videos, we'll dive into other dates, other denominations, and the specific minting errors that could turn a simple coin into a masterpiece worth a small fortune. We'll look at the famous 1983 New Pence £2 coin and so many others. For now, go and check that change. You might just be holding a little piece of history that is worth a whole lot more than its face value. If you found this video insightful, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you never miss another hidden treasure hunt. Share your finds in the comments below. Have you ever found a rare coin in your change? We would love to hear your stories. Thank you for watching, and happy hunting. Next coin, the 1997 UK 2 pence piece. Wait, let's stop right there. You said 2 pence, but I'm looking at the date, 1997, and I know immediately we are dealing with something far more significant. You're talking about the 1997 UK £2 coin, the bimetallic one. This is a classic mix-up, but a happy accident, because this coin has a story that is worth its weight in gold, or at least in silver. I'm going to tell you exactly why this coin is valuable, not just for a few pounds, but potentially for thousands. We're talking about a piece of modern history that, if you have the right version, could be a financial windfall. First, forget everything you think you know about PocketChange. This coin, when it was released, was revolutionary. It was the first bimetallic circulating coin in Britain since the tin farthing with a copper plug back in 1692. Imagine the Royal Mint in the mid-90s, planning for the future, deciding we need a high-value coin that is secure and difficult to counterfeit. They came up with this, a gold-colored nickel-brass outer ring with a silver-colored copper-nickel inner core. It was a technological marvel for the time, and that is exactly what the design is all about. The reverse, designed by Bruce Russian, features a beautiful, intricate pattern of interlocking rings and gears. It is meant to symbolize the history of technological achievement from the Iron Age to the Internet. And get this, there are 19 interlocking gears in that design. 19 is an odd number, which means that mechanically, those gears would not actually turn. It is a brilliant, static piece of art representing the impossible machine of progress. Now, the history of this specific date, 1997, is where it gets truly fascinating for collectors. These coins were actually minted in 1997, bearing the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II by the artist Raphael Maklauf. You can identify his work easily. The Queen is wearing a necklace, giving her a slightly more regal, almost ancient appearance. But here is the kicker. Due to technical difficulties with the new bimetallic striking process, these 1997 dated coins were not released into circulation until June 1998. So, for nearly a year, these coins existed but were not in the public's hands. They were the first of their kind, the pioneers of a new era in British currency. The Maklauf effigy was only used on these 1997 circulation coins. Subsequent years used the Ian Rank Broadley portrait, which shows an older, more matronly queen. This makes the 1997 coin instantly recognizable and distinct from all the standard issues that followed. But wait, I'm just getting to the really good part. The value of your standard, everyday, 1997 £2 coin that you might find in a jar? Yes, that has value. But I'm not here to tell you about a coin that might be worth £2 or £3. I am here to tell you about the versions that could make you a very nice profit. The true value lies in the errors and the special editions. The Royal Mint, being the meticulous institution it is, doesn't usually let mistakes happen. But when they do, collectors go wild. There's a specific error with this technology £2 coin that turns it from PocketChange into a potential $1,000 prize. Imagine this. A coin that was supposed to have a silver center and a gold outer ring. Now imagine a blank metal disc, a planchet, accidentally slipped into the minting process. This disc was the wrong one, made entirely of the nickel brass material. The die struck it anyway, and out popped a £2 coin that was one solid, uniform gold color. It is missing its silver center entirely. These are incredibly rare, incredibly desirable, and have been known to sell for prices around $1,000 or even more depending on condition. And that is not the only error. The same TikTok coin expert at the .coin.seeker highlighted another major mistake to look for, the rotation error. On a normal coin, if you flip it over from top to bottom, the reverse design should be perfectly upright relative to the obverse. But sometimes the die that strikes the coin slips or rotates during the minting process. If you have a 1997 £2 coin where the reverse design is rotated by 45 degrees or more compared to the queen's head, you have another valuable error coin on your hands. These errors are the true treasure hunt. They're the reason why you should be checking every single £2 coin that passes through your fingers. The mintage for the standard coin was high, over 13 million, so the standard ones are common. But the errors? Those are needles in a haystack. Let's shift focus to another stratosphere of value, the silver-proof versions. The Royal Mint didn't just make these coins for spending. They also made beautiful, collectible versions for enthusiasts. In 1997, alongside the circulation coins, they issued a limited number of silver-proof pied fort coins. Pied fort means a coin that is extra thick, often twice the weight of a standard coin. These were struck in .925 sterling silver. Now we're talking about real precious metal. A standard 1997 silver-proof pied fort £2 is a stunning object. But the value? An auction listing showed a 1997 silver-proof pied fort graded by NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company, as PF68 Cameo, and it was part of a lot with other silver coins. The value of these is significantly higher than the face value, often fetching hundreds of dollars. Now let's talk about the absolute maximum potential. The most valuable 1997 dated £2 coin is not the one in your pocket, but it is the one that sets the benchmark for the entire series. I found an auction record from Spink, a world-renowned auction house. They sold a 1997 proof £2 coin. But this wasn't just any proof coin. It was a special presentation piece, number 81 out of a ridiculously limited issue of only 2,500 coins. It came in its original green Royal Mint box, and it had been graded by NGC as PF69 Ultra Cameo, which is a near-perfect grade. This coin represents the absolute pinnacle of quality for the 1997 issue. The estimate for that coin? It was listed with an estimate of 78,000 Japanese yen. At today's exchange rates, that estimate pushes the value of this perfect, rare, boxed, low-mintage proof coin to over $500. That is the maximum potential we are talking about, from a £2 face value to a $500 plus collectible. So, how much can your coin sell for right now? Let's be realistic. If you have a worn, circulated 1997 £2 coin that you found in a shop, its maximum value today is probably just its face value, maybe $1 or $2 to a collector who needs it for a date run. But the condition is king. If you have a brilliant uncirculated BU example still in its original mint packaging, that changes the game. I found a dealer who was selling a 1997 United Kingdom BU bimetallic £2 coin in its original RoyalMint packaging for just under $28. That is already more than 10 times its face value. So, a pristine, unsullied example can fetch $25 to $30 easily. That is the starting point for the maximum value of a non-error, non-silver, standard coin. But I want to motivate you. I want you to feel the thrill of the hunt. The true maximum for the vast majority of people who own this coin is not in the silver proof or the limited edition box. It is in the errors. It is in the possibility that you have one of those all-gold color planchet errors sitting in a drawer. That is the coin that could sell for $1,000. That is the coin that makes headlines. The fact that these errors exist and have been confirmed by experts means that every 1997 £2 coin has a hidden potential. You cannot look at it and just see a piece of metal. You have to look at it as a lottery ticket. Second coin-to-coin we're talking about today is the 2001 UK 2 pence piece, featuring the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II. At first glance, you might look at this copper-colored coin and think it is just another piece of small change, perhaps destined to sit at the bottom of a jar or get lost between the sofa cushions. But I am here to tell you that this coin, the 2001 2 pence, holds secrets and potential value that could absolutely transform the way you see your spare change forever. We are going to dive deep into its history, its composition, and the incredible errors that make this specific year a hidden gem in the world of coin collecting. First, let's establish what this coin is on the surface. The 2001 2 pence is part of the decimal coinage system that was introduced in the United Kingdom back in 1971. It features the fourth portrait of Queen Elizabeth II on the obverse, the work of the talented sculptor Ian Rank Broadley, which was used on BritishCoins from 1998 onwards. You can see the Queen facing right, wearing the beautiful girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. The reverse, designed by Christopher Ironside, simply and elegantly displays the number 2 with the words 2 pence beneath it and a crown above. It is a classic, timeless design. But here is where the history gets interesting and where the value starts to peek through. The material of this coin is crucial. In 1992, the RoyalMint made a massive change to the 1 and 2 pence coins. Before 1992, they were made of bronze. After that, they switched to copper-plated steel to save money because the price of copper was rising. Your 2001 2 pence is made of this copper-plated steel. This means it is magnetic, unlike the older bronze ones. This change in composition is the foundation for the most valuable error you could possibly find. Now, imagine the RoyalMint's production line. They have massive presses striking millions of coins. They have planchets, which are the blank metal discs, for 2 pence coins made of copper-plated steel. But they also have planchets for other denominations, like the 10 pence piece, which is made of nickel-plated steel. Sometimes, in the chaos of mass production, a planchet from the wrong pile sneaks into the press. This is where the magic happens for collectors. For the 2001 2 pence, there is a legendary error that has been confirmed by coin experts and has sold for life-changing money. This error coin is struck on a planchet mint for a 10 pence coin. Instead of being copper-plated steel, the coin is made of nickel-plated steel, giving it a distinct silver color. Imagine holding a 2 pence coin that looks silver instead of copper. It stands out like a sore thumb. The online coin expert known as the Coin Collecting Wizard has highlighted this exact error, stating that these silver-colored errors were produced in specific years, and 2001 is one of them. The value of this silver error is not just a few pounds. We're talking serious money. One of these silver error coins sold at auction for a staggering $1,350. Let that sink in. A coin with a face value of just 2 pence, which is about 2.5 cents, sold for over $1,300. That is exactly the kind of treasure we're looking for. Another one sold for around $800, and others have changed hands for nearly $500. So, if you find a 2001 2-pence that is silver, you are not holding a mistake. You are holding a potential down payment on a car. But the silver error is not the only path to value with this coin. Let's talk about condition. The standard 2001 2-pence was minted in massive numbers. The RoyalMint in Lanterson struck over 551 million of these coins for circulation. With a mintage that high, a worn, scratched, and dirty coin you might get exchange at a shop is worth exactly its face value, perhaps a few cents to a collector who needs to fill a hole in a folder. But the moment you step away from circulation quality, the value starts to climb. The RoyalMint also produced these coins in special sets for collectors. There were brilliant uncirculated coins, which are pristine examples never intended for spending, packaged in special folders. In 2001, there were over 57,000 of these uncirculated 2-pence coins issued in mint sets. A coin from one of these sets, still in its original packaging and in perfect condition, is worth significantly more than a pocket war example. It might not be thousands of dollars, but it is a premium piece of history. Then we have the proof versions. These are the cream of the crop. In 2001, the RoyalMint issued proof sets with a Victorian theme, and they included a 2-pence coin struck to the highest standard. These proof coins have a mirror-like finish and frosted details. Nearly 50,000 proof 2-pence coins were issued that year. A proof 2001 2-pence in its original box, especially if it has been graded by a service like NGC, could be worth anywhere from $10 to $50 or more, depending on the grade and the set it came from. It is a beautiful collectible item. Now, I want to talk about a different kind of value, one that is making headlines right now in 2026. The price of copper has soared to an all-time high, reaching over $13,000 per ton recently. This has led many people to wonder if their old pennies and 2-pence coins are worth more melted down than their face value. For your 2001 coin, the answer is a bit complicated. Because it is copper-plated steel and not solid bronze, the metal value is not as high as the pre-1992 coins. Experts suggest that the intrinsic metal value of a pre-1992 2-pence coin, made of 97% copper, could be about 4 cents, roughly double its face value. Your 2001 coin has less copper, so the melt value is lower. Plus, it is actually illegal to melt down UK coinage without a license from the Treasury. So, while you can't legally scrap it for profit, it does tell you that the older material has inherent value.